We'll be getting started in just a minute. I am not our presenter. I am Keely. I'm the sales and marketing lead here at Avalanche. Lance is going to be joining. That is who's actually going to be presenting. Um, he's joining now.
Hey, Keely. Thanks for warming
Hello.
everybody up. Are we
Of
good?
course.
You can see
Yes.
me? You see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Check, check. Awesome. Awesome. Great. I'm excited to be here. I hope everybody else is. It looks like we have quite a few people on time. I love that. Punctuality is great. Much appreciated. If you're coming from a cold area like me, you have no excuse. You just want to stay inside anyways. There's probably not a lot of landscaping and lawn care work to be doing, which is why we do this in January. So
Yeah. We You're not visible during this presentation, but it is being recorded. We encourage you to engage with us through the Q&A section if you have any questions throughout. Um, and I'll be in the background making sure that those get answered. And then we have the chat open as well in case you'd like to, have some more casual conversation within there. But I'll be in the background, just making sure that those questions get answered if there are any.
great. Thank you, Keely. Appreciate it. I can take over from here. I'm probably going to give it a couple more minutes here for just a few more attendees to show up. But in the meantime, um, I'd encourage any of you to feel free to add any questions you have now to the chat. And if you're up for it, drop your name, title, the name of the company that you work for in the chat, just to let others know who's attending, where you're coming from across the country. We have a number of attendees kind of from all over the place. So I just thought that might be kind of interesting. Also, I have just a few landscaping and lawn care jokes prepared, and I did use ChatGPT just to kill a little bit of time. So my first few are, why was the tree so good at math? It had square roots. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Why do landscapers bring shovels to parties? They like to dig in. If these are really dorky jokes, you know what? They'll grow on you. That was all ChatGPT, so I was pretty impressed with that. I just asked it this morning to provide some landscaping jokes for me. They're not great. They're really, really awful dad jokes, but I am in fact a dad, so it fits. These are jokes that I would enjoy. So now that it is 12:03, I do want to get started. The first couple of slides are really just about me and the company, and then we're going to dive in. And I'm really excited for today. If you are attending, my goal by the end of this hour is that you learn something new that you didn't know before, and that you walk away knowing what you can do to your business to help you generate more online visibility that can help you grow your business. That is the goal of today. If I don't do a good job of that, please be vicious. Let us know in our feedback because that's what we have prepared here for you. The goal is to help you grow your landscaping or lawn care business with more leads through Google. So let's jump in. First, I want to tell you a little bit about me by the numbers. I've been married 11 years to my wife, Rayanne, here, who is a co-owner of Avalanche Creative, our agency. We are big, really sad Lions fans, as you can see in the photo here. I don't want to dwell too much on that. I'm sad. But I started the business about 10 years ago, and it was just me for the first 5 years. And then my wife realized you need help. She's a lot more of an operational minded person. And when she joined, we then went from me and her to about 14 people on the team. We specialize in search engine optimization services, and we also build websites. So we don't do full service marketing. We really, really focus just on SEO or organic search marketing. And we primarily work with local service-based companies, many of which are landscapers and lawn care companies. We have two young kids and one small 10-pound dog. All right, this is a picture of the team, or at least part of the team. We are a fully remote team. We represent about 5 states across the country, but we all get together for a week every year in Michigan. We are located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but we go out by the lake shore to get together. And as I mentioned, we've been in business for 10 years, and we have about 40 active clients that we serve every single month that are really investing heavily into our SEO services. So once again, our focus in our business is helping them get search engine visibility that turns into revenue. So we're not focusing on, are you getting traffic to your site? That's a symptom. We are really focusing on generating more high quality leads and helping the businesses understand that our work is contributing to their business's growth and more authority for their brand, more trust for their brand in the marketplace. So that's what we do. So enough about me, enough about our company. I want to get into the meat and potatoes. We have a lot to go over today. But I want to start with just a definition, a reminder. If you're not fully aware, or if you don't know what SEO is, you need that reminder. It does stand for search engine optimization. But I want to talk about why SEO and what it is. So done well, it can be the lever of growth for your company. What is it? It's working to make your website show up in search results for keywords and searches that are relevant to your business. And if you're wondering about how AI is changing that at this point, a really sound SEO strategy is actually going to contribute to you showing up in AI results, for instance, in ChatGPT. So don't worry about that. You're kind of killing two birds with one stone if you invest in a sound SEO strategy. So I want to tell a quick story. There's a screenshot right here, and what you're looking at, it is a report from a client that we worked with for about 5 years, and these are individual pages on their website. And on this other side is conversions. So these are people that filled out forms that originated from landing on these individual service pages. So you can see right here, it might be really small on your screen, but it's a service, and then these are all different service pages here. And so what our team did is we got visibility. Each one of these pages have varying keywords that they were ranking for. So we look at the top one, landscape, bark, and mulch, probably something around, bark and mulch services near me. Or the next one, hydroseeding, very similar. So the reason I show you this is to prove the value of investing in your website, investing specifically in your service pages. And we're going to talk a lot about those today in this webinar. What this did for this company is it helped them go from, on a decent month, 5 to 10 leads per month to about 50 to 100, depending on the time of year. So investing into your website is the single best way, in our experience working with a lot of landscaping and lawn care companies, of generating more leads. They're coming to you ready to buy, and that's what I'm hoping to prepare you to go do yourself in the coming slides ahead. So quick agenda here. Like I said, what we're probably going to spend the most time on is actually that number one, create a website service page that converts. I'm going to walk you through all of the components that are going to help you develop a service page that not only has the capability to show up in search results in Google and any other search engine, but also has a really high likelihood of actually converting visitors. Because it's not just about, hey, can I show up in Google? Can I grab their attention? Can I make it really, really hard for them to say, no, I don't want to reach out to this company for a quote? Because that's the goal. Once you get them there, you want your website to do the selling for you. A really, really, really good website can truly make it so that it is your best salesperson and they come to you ready to buy. And a good service page is crucial to that. And then after that, we're just going to go through some really quick 5 different SEO fixes that you could do right now, today, without any knowledge of SEO. I'm going to show you what those are and how they can impact your visibility and help you generate more leads. And then we're going to go through 10 proven do's and don'ts to attract qualified leads. All right, we're jumping into that first section of creating a website service page that converts. And between each one of these sections, I am going to pause in case there are any questions. Keely will be taking questions at any time. Feel free to put those into the chat. And then once we get to a slide that looks like this, she'll be asking those questions if she feels they're relevant, or maybe save them for the end. So this is a sample of a great service page for a lawn care or landscaping company. I'm going to break down this entire page and why each section is crucial to showing up in search results and getting people to take action, which is normally filling out, a quote request form or calling you. Most lawn care and landscaping companies we work with fail miserably, or that we talk to, not that we work with, that we interact with initially, fail at putting together pages like this. And this is probably one of the biggest difference makers. A lot of companies just have like one service page and it just lists out all of the services that are offered. And that is not ideal. And even having the service page isn't enough. It's the components, the elements of the service page that's going to get you the visibility, get you people to convert. So let's get into it. Why are these service pages so incredibly important? Google understands what's called local intent, meaning when someone needs a local service provider, Google understands it based on how they search. Now, a lot of times it's very clear because people will search near me or insert the name of the city, with their service search. You can see in my sample here, I've searched mulch installation, which did not include near me or the city name, yet because I'm located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's showing me localized results. This probably isn't new to anybody, but the second point here, Google wants to recommend pages that match the need. You can't just have one service page that says you do mulch installation and expect to show up for mulch installation. So you can see here, mulch installation, each and every one of these first organic results have dedicated pages. Mulch and rock, this one's landscaping, but it's focused on mulch installation. Grand Rapids mulch delivery, mulch installation. All the title tags here, that's what the blue is. And even I can see in the breadcrumbs, the actual page, it's not the home page. It's a dedicated service page about the service that I have searched for. And it's in my area. This gives me as a searcher the confidence that, oh, these results are probably what I'm looking for. And what that person needs really depends on a lot of factors. Yes, it's clear someone needs mulch installation by this search, but how much mulch? Where are they located? What kind? What's your process? Can you do it annually? Do I need to do it twice annually? What's the cost? These are all the types of questions that are behind that search that anybody could be asking. And a really, really good service page has to anticipate those needs better, and that serves the searcher really well. Google loves it. The searcher loves it if done right. And if done right, these pages can bring you more leads from search engines for free and AI than any other source. Now, I say for free, but there is certainly a cost in your time, resources, or working with an agency or an employee to getting this done and getting it done right. But the beautiful thing about SEO is it compounds over time. The investment you make for 6 months or a year will help pay for the next 3 years if done right. That's not true of other forms of marketing like postcards, pay-per-click, anything like that. You stop paying, your visibility is gone. So this is where you get to actually own some of the real estate. All right, jumping into this, the very first element of a great website service page that converts, the header. This is the area that you see before you start scrolling. This should pack a punch and not feel overwhelming. The H1 is your header. This should state the service name and ideally the area you serve to immediately assure people that they are in the right place and that you can help them. So you can see here in this example, lawn mowing services in West Michigan. Very clear. Then a short description should clarify the benefits of the service. That's over here. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean describing the service, especially in this space, like lawn mowing. I think for the most part, we know what that is. Now, there should be a section about the nuances of it, and we'll get to that. But this is more about, really selling the value of having somebody else do your lawn mowing for you. So something like enjoy your yard, don't work for it. This is a good place for some good copy that just kind of grabs attention and gets people to feel like, yeah, I should stick around here. And then also a form, a button, so that if people are ready, and sometimes people can just land on a really good page and go, okay, yeah, I feel good about this company immediately, or I even maybe have heard of this company before, so I have a little bit of that recognition. I'm ready to just get a quote. Like some people do that. Not everyone is going to go through the entire service page in every single section, and that's how the internet works. Every single page is made for skimming, and that's what we're kind of building here in a good service page. Um, but yeah, you don't want to make it hard for them to contact you, so make that very clear. And then lastly, if you can add this in as a design component, add quick links to sections of your service page so people can get to what they care about most the fastest. So that's what this is down here. And it just jump links or anchor links just bring you to the position in the page that you care about. So that's where we have links here like reviews, get started, why choose us, service areas, additional services, FAQs. Those are the other elements that we're going to get to here. But you want those front and center so they can just get to the thing that they care the most about. Because once again, kind of going back to that mulch installation example, it's like whoever's searching for that, is it commercial? Is it residential? How much do they want? Where are they? There's so much that we don't know. If you present them with all this, they get to choose their own adventure and have a much better experience. It increases that confidence and likelihood that they contact you. So next up, an incredibly valuable section is some social proof, reviews. So while not everyone is going to be consciously thinking, are they trustworthy and good at their job just yet, it is your job as the business owner, the marketer of your lawn care landscaping company to bring the questions, the objections, the concerns to the forefront of their brain and speak to them right away. What that does is it really comforts people. It gives them more confidence that they're in the right place and they're going to be well taken care of. So be transparent, share a link to your Google business profile if you can, share names and images of the people that left those reviews if you get their permission, of course, but a lot of times that's already naturally happening if they leave it on your Google business profile. So you can see here, we've got names, you've got a link to go actually see that these are real and they're not just made up. That really helps convey that confidence. Next up, the service overview. So describe the services, what is provided from start to finish, what is not included, what custom solutions do you offer. You want to try to keep this between 1 and 2 paragraphs, or maybe, as this example shows, just a few kind of bullet points to really help people understand what is involved in landscaping or in the service of the page that you're on here. So if there is a lot to say, maybe you want to about the service, maybe you want to write a dedicated blog post and link to it here. But this shouldn't be overwhelming. It shouldn't feel like a wall of text. It should be kind of quick and easy to consume. And again, if you have a lot to say, if there is a lot to say about anything in particular, like customization, then link to a page or another section that says more. You don't want to overwhelm people. You want them to easily be able to navigate from section to section. Next, service categories. Not every page is going to need service categories necessarily, but they are really important for helping your visitors and potential customers get to what they need more quickly, and it helps a lot with your search engine visibility. So an example would be someone searching landscape design and landing on a service page that is dedicated to landscape design. But I think we might all know that can potentially be a lot of things depending on what you offer. Like that could involve building retaining walls, lawn installation, walkways, patios, pergolas, things like this. And a lot of people are searching specifically for those services as well. So those services do need their own page. So service categories can be a really, really helpful way to organize your information, organize your services. And if you Google's mission statement, it's literally to organize the world's information. What we have learned is when you organize your information really, really well, and it's very thorough and helpful, you're going to get better visibility. So that is why organizing, when it makes sense, into service categories and displaying those on relevant pages helps a ton. So search engines understand that landscape services or landscape design or the like could mean you're interested in a lot of the different things that these service categories with links that these service categories will have links to. So some customers are going to want to explore those specifically. Give it to them. Make it very easy for them to get to those pages. Next up, service areas. These need to be listed to make it clear to the visitor and to the search engines that you do provide a particular service to someone looking for it. So once again, just searching mulch installation in that previous example, it knew that I was in Grand Rapids and there was a lot of Grand Rapids pages, but that's not always going to be the case depending on where somebody is searching for a particular service and what results are actually available. So you want to have a section where people can very quickly see and confirm, yes, they do provide this service to me. Again, it just really helps build that confidence. And eventually, you may even want to build out specific service area pages. So this can be another really effective strategy for building pages that attract more leads. And what I mean by that is you would take some of these municipalities, these other cities, and actually have landing pages dedicated for those in particular, combined with a specific service. That's often needed in more competitive areas or more competitive services. So next up is the why us. This is your chance to really stand out. The rest of the page elements are elements that really, anybody watching this webinar could put together. It's any lawn care and landscaping company could put out a page that follows this template and says a lot of the more or less the same things. But this is where you get to talk about what makes you different and better. Brag and show off rewards, awards, recognitions. This is where you can really sell yourselves and stand out. You could even have some fun here with a quick, maybe less than 30 or 30 to 60-second intro video of the owner or the team or the first person that a website visitor would interact with if they called or sent an email or filled out a form. This really just kind of helps remove that mystery and kind of personalize the brand a little bit. And it allows website visitors to kind of see themselves working with you and build a little bit more of that trust. And that's why it's crucial to have something like this and do your best not to be so vanilla, not the same as everybody else. Next section here, who is served? So this is a section where you add additional clarity that you do provide services to particular industries or types of customers like residential versus commercial. So commercial typically means you've got experience serving a wide variety of industries, industrial, education, shopping centers, etc. You want to list those. So when the right people see that, it builds that confidence and helps you stand out. You're communicating that, hey, we have helped people just like you, and that's really comforting to people. And you could even, and we've seen this work out in some cases, link to a dedicated page for those industries in particular. Now, while people aren't always, going to a search engine, and in fact, it is pretty rare that they're going to go to a search engine and search something like lawn care for grocery stores. The fact is, the people that work at grocery stores looking for those services are going to go to Google and search lawn care services. And if they get to your page and see that you've worked with other grocery stores, it builds more of that confidence. And that's why it's really, really huge to use this and make it really clear about the different types of people or organizations that you will serve. You will provide said service to. Next up is case studies or work samples. So another place to show off lawn and landscape is highly visual. Show them, don't tell them you're good. Invest in great photography with befores and afters. Should even create case studies and projects that have dedicated pages. Now, not every project or job is going to be as glamorous and easy to put together, a dedicated case study, but it could be really helpful to tell the story. Again, any story that you can tell just allows visitors to kind of enter into it and imagine themselves more easily participating in that story. And you guys are the guide to their story. So once again, it helps visitors to enter that by giving them those relevant examples, a whole section just dedicated to it. Next up are FAQs, frequently asked questions. So they're always common questions that you, your sales team, whoever's talking to customers get in the pre-sale, pre-project, and even post-project process. All of those questions at those points are incredibly important to actually get onto your service pages. You want to call them out. You don't want to be afraid of asking the question and then having a good, succinct answer. And don't assume that they were answered in other areas of your page or even other areas of your site. Get them front and center in a section that's, again, easy to navigate to. FAQs. Here are things that people have asked us. If somebody's asked you one time a really weird question about a particular service, just put it in there. No harm to add a good directory of these FAQs for your particular services. Answer questions about costs, at least giving them a ballpark, a range. That can be really helpful, really helps with that transparency. And on the service pages, make these buyer focused and less educational. So you don't need to have an FAQ here like, how long does it take grass to grow? Like that's not necessary on a page like this. That something like that might be helpful, and we'll get to that in a second. But your goal with this is to make sure that nothing else on the page here goes unanswered. This is kind of your chance to kind of fill the bottle and really make sure that this is a great service page that does all the selling for you, so you don't need to convince them once they've contacted you. That's what these service pages can do for you, is if somebody has reviewed it all, they're ready to buy. They just want to get the quote and get started. FAQs can help a ton with that, and it saves you and your sales team a lot of time just having people come in ready to buy without a ton of questions. The next section here is how to get started. So this section removes a lot of that mystery, a lot of quote and estimate request forms present with. So we see this all the time before companies start working with us, a big quote request form. And that's it. It literally, on the page, it's like a title and it says quote request. And then here's the fields that you got to fill in it. There's a ton of fields without any clarity on what happens when you fill out that form. And sure, a visitor can take a pretty good guess of what's going to happen. I fill out this form and I'm going to get an email or a phone call. But a lot of visitors are subconsciously, not really sure what's going to happen. There's kind of this fog, there's this mystery, and it's your job to give them confidence if it's possible. And it is possible with a good how to get started section like this. So many people are seeing forms and not filling them out because you're not making them easy to fill out. And too many people are adding way too many forms in the first stage. It is possible to build forms in a way where it's like, here's 3 or 4 fields in this form, and it's get started or get an estimate, and then it asks you more detailed questions if that's helpful, kind of for your quote request and sales process. But it's really helpful to provide a 1, 2, 3, 4, keep it between 3 to 5 steps. Be super, super clear about how exactly this works. Fill out the form. Then what? you schedule a visit. That's how you get started for free. We send you a proposal. Once the proposal is finalized, you get it scheduled. Whatever those steps are, help them understand what's going to happen once I initiate this and I give you my personal information. And then lastly, this is one, unfortunately, we don't see done much, but we push for it because it helps a ton, is include a bio of the service person or the salesperson that they're going to be interacting with. Personalize it. This is what helps you to stand out. And again, remove that mystery, add confidence to the visitor that, oh, this is a company that I can trust. I can actually see the person who's going to respond to this quote request form, or the person that's going to lead my project, whatever it is, however you kind of want to put that spin on it. And, put a link or add a short bio, be funny, be personal. That is going to help you get more people to fill out your forms by having elements like this on the page. All right, if you're still with me, I hope you're still with me here. We're getting close to the end of the service page section here. And I want to remind you guys, this is a lot. You can see here, we've got these nice little check boxes. All of these slides are going to be shared with you for attending. So you can use this. Take this as your little checklist to be able to put together a really, really good landing page. But this is one of the last elements here. Blogs and videos to help people understand what it's like to work with you in more detail or add educational pieces about your services. So our biggest success stories, the sample that I showed you in the very beginning of those landing pages and all the conversions, that all happened because they were getting thousands of hydro seeding leads in particular. And this happened because we created great service pages first and then great blog content. So they ranked for just the word hydro seeding, even over Wikipedia at one point, because they had more helpful information about what that is. And they had it organized really well into different types of blog posts, like the best time to hydroseed, hydroseeding versus sod, and all these different things. Now, the reality is they were a local company and they don't need to get traffic all over the country, which they were for hydroseeding and people just searching, trying to understand what that is for the first time. However, what that did is it allowed them to be dominant for hydroseeding in their area. So when people searched hydroseeding near me or hydroseeding Grand Rapids and the cities that they served, they were showing up number one easily because Google was looking at it. It was like, okay, they have a great service page, but they also have these blogs that are incredibly valuable, really thorough, really well organized. And if people care about getting hydroseeding as a service, they might also care about hydroseeding 101 and what it is, or the best time to hydroseed. And so you can see how blogs, videos, other educational content can lift your authority. Now, we always encourage you do service pages like this first. And really, these service pages are not ever going to be a set it and forget it approach. It's going to be put something together. You don't want you don't want to not do these pages because you can't do every single section. If you can do half of these sections to start, get that page out there and then come back over time and add more to it. I'd rather see you get something that's a little bit better out there than focusing too much on best. Use better to get to best and constantly come back to these pages. All right, I'm going to pause there, bring Keely back in to see if there's any questions before we jump into the 5 quick SEO fixes.
No questions as of right now, but we're happy to
All right.
answer them as they come up.
Awesome. That means one of two things. I don't have anyone's attention, or I've been flawless and I've answered everything. So I'll take the second. All right, so now I'm going to go through 5 quick fixes that you can do today, literally today. I promise you, if you have access to your website or your Google business profile, these are all worth looking at, and you should be able to accomplish any of these in 5 minutes or less. So very actionable items here. First one is adding as many specific services as you provide to your Google business profile. So if you don't know what your Google business profile is, that's bad. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you should know. If you don't, I don't mean to shame you, but it's your listing in Google search, and it's super, super important. And what we often see is a lot of lawn care and landscaping companies don't fill out a really important section called services. It's literally where you can go in and free form add as many services as you provide, like even the small little things, like in this case, fall cleanups. So the reason in this example right here that these companies are showing up in Google's local pack or map pack where they only show 3 businesses and it's really good real estate. You get a lot of click-throughs with getting this real estate. The reason they're showing up is because they actually listed fall cleanups as a service. Without that, it would not have this little badge that says provides. So that is huge. All you have to do is go in there and you can add dozens of them that are they can be extremely specific to. And I know, a lot of people are like, I don't care. Maybe I don't care too much about the fall cleanups, but like look for those, Trojan horse, the first service that gets them kind of like into working with you and believing in your brand and your company. And then you're going to be able to upsell them on, new services eventually. So go in, get those filled out. Next, also with your Google Business Profile, add a booking link that goes directly to your quote request form on your website. I see far too many that don't do this as well. Google oftentimes, maybe on mobile and in different scenarios, will actually present that booking link, especially if you're, on your phone and you're looking through landscaping companies. The booking or quote request link is going to stand out. Of course, it's not going to stand out if you don't have it set. And a lot of people just don't add this when they're filling out their Google Business Profile. And here's the reality. Here's kind of the challenge is a lot of these things are changing fairly often. So maybe you're like, no, I filled out my Google Business Profile a year ago. Well, changes have been made like in the last year. So go in there and make sure things haven't changed for you or you're not missing fields in there that are really important. This one is a fun little hack for me. So add free estimate if you offer that for any of your services to your page titles. Now, your page titles are something that you set, you control. Google will change them from time to time, but for the most part, you control what they say. And it's a great opportunity to increase conversion rates, click-through rates in Google results. So in this case, like if I'm this landscaping company, and you search landscaping services, this is their homepage that showed up for that, but you can easily add free estimates. And if nobody else is doing that and they all kind of look the same, that's going to stand out. And, who doesn't love a free estimate? Now, yeah, you could say like, oh, everybody does that. Yeah, but is everybody calling it out to grab attention? People love that. And it's a very easy change in your content management system. And it should be, if it's not for you, then whoever is managing your website should be able to add things like this. Now, there is a limit of 160 characters, so you have to, work around that a little bit. And I'd say it's, really make sure that you're doing title tags appropriately. Like in this case, this is the homepage, so I think they've done a good job here. The name of the business, you know, area they serve, what kind of service, and then free estimates. Now, on your service pages, that's where you're going to want to do, you might not need to put your name in. You just put the service and the area served in the title and then free estimates. That could be a really effective way to make sure that if you get visibility, you're getting more of the clicks than anybody else showing up in the results with you. Next up, again, I see people fail at this a lot. Send an automated email or text to quote estimate requests. When people fill out those forms, automatically, like, let them know, hey, we've got it. Like that just, again, it just builds that confidence in the experience that, hey, they've received my quote request and here's what's happening next. and you could even in your form, you could ask people, how do you prefer to be contacted? Phone call, text, email, let them decide, and then set up the automation to send that, quote request confirmation through that medium. Again, it really helps build that confidence that like you care a little bit more about the customer's experience than your competitors. Next up, it's kind of a gimme too, but add photos to your Google Business profile regularly. You may have some in there, but when was the last time you updated it? Google loves fresh content. So in the same way, you're adding case studies to your website, you're adding the projects, get those on your Google Business profile because you actually can see how often people are viewing those photos. It happens a lot more than you think, especially if you have decent visibility. And again, your photos can do a really good job of selling your services. All right, gonna pause there once again. Keely, did we get any questions coming in?
Yes, one
Nice.
about the titles specifically. Um, the question is, why add free estimate when we do paid consultations for our design work?
Oh, that's that's a really good question. I guess if it doesn't fit your business model if you just don't offer free estimates, then yeah, then you probably wouldn't want to add that. And I wouldn't, say anything like, paid consultations or something in your title tags. Um, yeah, that is really tough. So if you're not offering those, then there's not much that you can do. You still should optimize your title tags to really match the services that you provide. But if you're doing paid consultations, it could be a little bit trickier to convince people to work with you. Awesome. Any other questions?
No, that was it.
Okay. We'll move on to the 10 proven do's and don'ts to attract qualified leads. So I'm going to go through 5 things that you need to be doing. And maybe you're not doing this well currently, but I'm here to encourage you to tell you you do this well. It's going to help you a ton. Put your phone number front and center. Don't make people hunt for it. Again, we spend a lot of time on landscaping, lawn care websites, and we see people that leave the phone number in the footer of the page or not even in the footer or the header. It's just on the contact page. That's a really bad experience. People will pick up the phone, call, or text, and you want it right there. Right, I would say best position is top right on a fixed navigation. If you can get that navigation to stay sticky as you scroll, put it there. Put faces of your people on your website. Once again, we don't see it really often, but people love seeing people. It removes that mystery and immediately can make you more likable, approachable. People can better see themselves working with you when they see the people behind the brand. It's just kind of a human psychology thing. People don't love faceless brands because they don't understand them. They can't interact with them. They don't see themselves. They can't relate as much to a brand as they can a human. Next one, solicit reviews and put them on your website. This is probably, once again, a gimme. You've probably heard this so many times before, but if people have a good experience, you need to tell their story because their story is what is going to convince your next customer to work with you. And be sure to put those on your website. I said on the service pages, but you want them on the homepage. You want them on a lot of pages. And it's even better if you can tailor the reviews to the service. So if you have a lot of different services, make sure the reviews, if somebody's describing like, hey, I had, this service done, make sure it is on that same service page. Next up, have some personality. Be you. Share a goofy photo of your team and, add some copy, some words that stand out. I've seen something, kind of, weird off the wall, but it just kind of like makes you do a double take. That was like a picture of this guy, and it said the only lawn care company with crazy Kevin, and it was just a goofy photo. And the guy, the only lawn care company with crazy Kevin, the guy on our team that just won't quit until you're blown away. And just something like that can really help people. Um, Once again, just feel like you're not just this faceless brand, that you're having fun and also doing good work. Um, and then lastly here, we haven't talked a lot about this, but this is huge. And this one, again, I think so many companies struggle with is track the success of your website with Google Analytics. You cannot improve what you don't measure. So make sure you are able to find out what your website is contributing to or not. And I often say, like, Google Analytics or any analytics service is not going to tell you everything that's working. You have to set it up properly, and you still have to kind of hunt for the story. What we find when we set up dashboards, like that example that I shared in the very beginning, that shows the pages and the leads that have come from people that entered the site from search on those pages and became leads, that's a great story. But what's even better is when we actually work with the sales team at these companies and we talk to them, and they're actually, talking to their customers saying, how did you hear about us? And a lot of times it's like, oh, so and so told me about you guys. He found you on Google. And that's not going to show up in the report. So what's awesome about this type of work is if you put it in, it'll go even beyond reporting. The reporting won't show everything that it's doing for you. When we show leads that are being generated from our work, we know it's, maybe half the story, because that's just how people work. People visit a website, they jot down the name or they bookmark something, and they come back and convert later or write down the phone number. And if you're not asking, like, hey, how did you hear about us, and really hunting for that story, you'll never know that your website or, some of the SEO work that you've been doing on your website is actually contributing to that. But it's still helpful if you can get a little bit of that story. And that doesn't happen if you don't set up Google Analytics. Okay, some don'ts here. Force your visitors to fill out long forms. I mentioned that before, but it's worth mentioning again. It is possible to create what's called a two-step form that first collects the basics like name, email, phone number, and then the button that's like get started or get quote request, and then collect more of your information. Once again, I've seen some really, really, really difficult experiences that just look overwhelming and like make people think more than is necessary. And I get, we've worked with the sales teams at larger companies where it's like, well, we need them to, tell us their address in order to route it to the right person, this, that, and the other thing. Totally makes sense. But first solve for the visitor, solve for your customer, then solve the problem of how do we make this more manageable for our systems. Because if you force that on the customers, we have seen it. We have seen conversions go down on pages where it shouldn't, where they're getting good traffic, but they're being faced with that tough form that is just, and some people will fill those out, but not everyone will. So don't make people think. Next up, as I mentioned, already, don't just simply list your services on one service page. You can have a one service page that links to all of the services and just kind of gives that, that overview. Here's all of our services, and has a nice little title with a link to the individual service pages. But it's 2025. This is honestly something that has worked for years. Do not just have one service page. And there are even times where it's like, hey, I have like 3 or 4. And we look at those 3 or 4 and it's like, no, these actually should be like 6 to 10. Based on how people search for services, people are not going to make it to these pages that are looking for the services that you provide, because you're not offering the best possible experience for them right now. Number 3, use stock photos. This is a really hard one to avoid because people are lazy. I'm lazy. I get it. Like investing in a photographer to come out and like, or maybe getting our team to like take good photos, but people can tell. when stock photos are being used, and it just kind of conveys that like you're lazy or vanilla or boring, and you don't want to do that. Again, photos can make a huge difference. I could show you websites where it's like, wow, that's beautiful. I'm like, it's the custom photography. And if you swapped that custom photography for stock photos, you'd be like, I don't like this site and I don't know why. And if that was the only thing that changed, I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. We've been through hundreds of websites and seen it. Um, and number four, don't build a website and let it collect dust. As I mentioned, you could go out and build out all these service pages, start to get some more visibility, start to capture more leads, but the work is not over. And that's unfortunate to hear, right? Everyone's looking for a silver bullet. Like, let me just do these things and then like open up the floodgates of opportunity. Yes, that would be great. But that's not how it works. You have to continually push for better, and that's changing all the time. But don't let that stop you from getting started. I think thinking about getting started is a lot harder than when you've actually started. In our experience, just get out there, start making nominal adjustments, following some of these rules, these do's and these don'ts that we have provided. Um, and then lastly, don't make your customer hunt for the basics like who, where, how, cost, contact. Have good navigation throughout your site. Um, and that can be, you know, really easy to get right, but oftentimes you'll be surprised at how easy it can be to just kind of forget some of those basics. Um, and that is it. I think we're doing great on time. I just want to kind of break this down into, kind of summarize what you all can do to get growing. So number one, as I mentioned, create top-notch website service pages. These slides, I think we also, in a couple more slides, I'm going to share a QR code that has a folder that has a ton of resources. I believe we have a template in there of a great service page that has those check boxes, so all the things that you need in there. These are crucial. If you want more visibility and more leads, you gotta set these up. You gotta look at those elements and create a really good experience on that page. Um, Measure your outcomes. If you don't, you won't know that adding and updating service pages, for example, or anything else is working. So I would even do that first. And again, that can be challenging if you don't know your way around Google Analytics, but you do that first to see where you're at. Are we generating any visibility or any leads right now from the website we currently have? And then what happens after doing these service pages? If you do that, I promise you will get more opportunities coming to you, good opportunities. Um, and then lastly, approach your site with this continuous improvement. I know I've said this kind of already, but I really want to drive that home. It won't all work right away, but keep going. Your effort will be rewarded. Never settle. Continuously scour the internet and benchmark your website and its elements against others in your industry to raise the bar. I often tell people, I'm a runner. I ran cross country, track in high school. Haven't done it quite as much in the last 15 or 20 years since high school. But, but whenever I start running, I'm like, I've got the mental capacity to still run as fast as I could in high school. But my body's like, no, 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 you don't. Um, and I go through these periods. I'm going through this right now in January. I've ran every single day, and I'm like, oh, my body's getting back there. The first time it was so hard, but I just kept at it. And now I'm like recording times and doing distances and feeling so much better. The same thing here. Be continuous about it, even when it hurts and it feels like this doesn't make sense. It's not doing anything. Um, so just keep going. That's my encouragement to you. All right. With the remainder of our time, we do have one slide right after this, just with some housekeeping. And like I said, there's a QR code. But Keely, is there any more questions that I can answer?
Yes, we have one, but I do want to put out a disclaimer.
Hmm.
We are some SEO nerds, and I doubt it's very often that you have some SEO experts at your disposal. So if you do have any lingering questions, please let us know.
Yes.
The question that we do have right now is, what is the best site to make a new website?
Ooh. Okay. I will say that is certainly a question it's an opinion. There's no doubt about that. I will say in our experience, building sites, getting them to rank, WordPress has been the best. It's open source, meaning you can build anything on it. Now, that also makes it very dangerous. It can be very clunky, but we have seen sites that have gone from something like Squarespace or Wix to WordPress, and they just tend to perform better. Now, because WordPress is just so massive, it literally powers 40% of the internet is on WordPress, and the next closest is like 1.5%, like in terms of content management systems, which is what WordPress is. Um, so WordPress is what I'm likely to say, have said for years. But if you're like, I have no budget to pay someone to tell me how to do WordPress websites, I'm just gonna say, yeah, start with a Squarespace or a Wix. Even those can help you get started and make some progress.
Yes. We got another question.
Great.
How would we change our recommendations for a high-end company?
Wow. How would you change your recommendations for a high-end company? I might need more context to that question. Um, the recommendations for like what you do to your website, if
Haven't
that's okay.
haven't got more detail just yet, but I would assume, and I would think it would mean, yeah, in reference to changes throughout the website and likely bringing in higher end clientele.
Okay, okay. Yeah, a lot of that, honestly, can be done with the imagery. We've worked with a landscape design company that I don't even know if they do anything like less than 30, 40,000, no, maybe even $50,000 projects. And their projects gallery makes that very clear. And their services offered makes that very clear. Now it I'm kind of the camp of like, if somebody wants to contact you and is potentially interested in your services, even though you are high end, I think that's okay. So actually, as an SEO company, we are not the cheapest. We are definitely not the cheapest because we focus just on SEO. And we will tell people that we are not the cheapest. But we take a stance of we are willing to get on a call and talk to anyone, even if we know they are likely not able to afford us or it doesn't make sense for them to invest in us, because it's going to be a good experience that they have with our brand, and that's just going to help build momentum in the marketplace. It's going to give them a good impression of Avalanche, and that's what we want. We want people, whether or not they work with us or not, to have a good impression. That's why we're putting this webinar together, is we want people to learn something from us that's good for us, for people to learn. So again, I don't know. I'm looking at the questions now from I think it's Sasha, that ask that, but feel free to email. My email is right here. That question, any other questions that you guys have, my email's here. I'm open. And the last thing here that we have before our time, I want to respect that we've got less than a minute. You can apply for a free audit. This is something that Keely would likely set up, or myself, and we'll just take a look at your website with some of our tools and just kind of tell you what we would do specifically to your site and maybe under your circumstances, your unique circumstances, what you could do to get better visibility that could help generate more leads for you in 2025. And then lastly, we want everyone, if they're interested, to enter to win a free website by attending this, or sorry, by filling out the survey after the webinar. You will be entered to win a free website from us. There are some limitations to that on the number of pages, but it's going to be really, really awesome. And you don't have to accept it. But yeah, fill out that survey. And then we'll be contacting the winner within 48 hours. And yeah, Keely, anything else?
Yeah, I know we're at time. I will be sending an email out within the next few hours with a link to that survey, with a link to a resource drive. We ask that you provide as much feedback as you can. It's very valuable to us. And then if you're using this presentation or webinar at all for continuing education credits and you indicated as such, we will provide you with the necessary certificate within that email.
Awesome. Thank you, Keely. And thank you everyone that attended. We appreciate you. Yeah, we'll be sending you some follow-up emails. And once again, do not hesitate to reach out to us with any questions. We're happy to tell you what we would do to your site for free. We want you to do it yourself if you can. And if not, yep, our team is happy to see if we'd be a good fit.